I want to use this opportunity to greet and to appreciate the enormous opportunity given to Africa by the Executive Board and the General Assembly to elect a candidate that will represent Africa. I'm coming as a candidate to represent Africa on the Executive Board, to become a member of the steering committee. My name is Professor Casimir, currently a director at the University of Nigeria, Director of Culture, Ethics, AI and Gender of the university since 2014. I have been a member of an accredited NGO, the Center for Peace Building and Poverty Reduction, CEPA, University of Nigeria. We were accredited as far back as 2005. And since then, I was a member of the foundational group that started the UNESCO NGO Forum. And I have seen the challenges and the good points and the good achievements, the contributions, the solidarity between the General Assembly that led to the election of the steering committee. The steering committee has been doing a wonderful work. Till today, every election, every activity of the steering committee has been a source of pride to every one of us. We now need to move the steering committee and the NGO forum to a higher level. And that is why I am putting in my bid to serve the Executive Board and the General Assembly. I have been a professor in my university. I have worked with UNESCO at different levels. I have served and currently serve as the UNESCO National Committee Technical Working Group on Ethics of Artificial Intelligence for Nigeria. I am the non-executive civil society accredited NGO in the Nigerian UNESCO National Commission. I have currently going on a lot of arrangements with UNESCO chairs, and my bid for UNESCO chair is on. Both in Europe, we have exchange programs that are working out in this 2025. I am saying that Africa, my candidate speaks to the fact that Africa deserves to give the rest of the world the best. We have the best in Africa. UNESCO has stated it in its flagship Africa project that Africa's story needed to be written and rewritten so that we can work and partner with the rest of the world to achieve the mondial culture, the culture right-based economy with which every stakeholder will start working towards the achievement of a cultural economy that will satisfy everyone. As a member of the Executive Board, I have a vision. I have objectives. I have what I want to achieve. I am bold and courageous, and I'm ethical. I'm value-oriented. I give my university and about 78 other universities an ethical policy that makes people to behave, to conduct themselves with probity and integrity. Therefore, as a member of the Executive Board representing Africa, I want to state the things I'm going to be doing. And that is what I want us to look at. In the first place, I will assist the Executive Board elevate its value and service to the General Assembly. The Executive Board is doing a good work. That's the first point. We need to just elevate our vision. We need to elevate our contributions. We need to become more networking. We need to build more partnerships across board. Number two, Africa deserves to give their best to work with the rest of the world. We have the best people in Africa. We have good people in Africa. The image of Africa being a black continent can no longer work. We are a continent of hardworking, visionary, ethical people full of integrity. And we are going to present that best to Africa so that people can respect Africa just the way Europe, Latin America, and Asia is respected in this work we do, not just within the secretariat, but in the rest of the world. Number two, we're going to use the steering committee to promote the UNESCO flagship Africa in the arena of ICH. The mondial culture is around the corner. 5 years to the end of the Sustainable Development Goals, the whole world, 193 nations came together and said, we are going to adopt another strategy. We will create a cultural platform to use culture as a standalone right. Every human being on this planet Earth has a cultural right, not only to be treated well, but also to be taken care of and provided with the good things of life. Culture is more than enough sustainable platform, and we're going to use ICH to build a more sustainable platform for culture to satisfy every citizen of the world in everything that we are doing. Then the next slide is that we're going to build a new partnership strategy, what I call the partnership strategy of the willing and the able, between Europe, Africa, Asia, Latin America, so that we can work together with state parties and universities. We need to work with universities. We need to become more research-based, to carry out research, to ensure that universities also work with the forum. Not just universities, but also state parties. The example is what we did in Turkey. The executive board carried out a program on best practices in ICA safeguarding between the executive board and the state party of Turkey. Currently, we are working with the Living Heritage Secretariat. I am working a technical working group, working with the Mexican government, state party with the Living Heritage Secretariat to carry out the same kind of thing we did in Turkey, in Mexico, and other places. I have that skill for strategic contact, to create it, to define it in a very straight manner. That is one. I call it the partnership of the willing and the able. It's a strategy we are going to increase more. Then the next one is that I will help the executive board to build the capacity to integrate Mondia culture in ICH. That creative economy, if the members of the accredited the assembly, the accredited NGOs in ICH under the 2003 convention, they don't have capacity to interpret and to integrate policies, to integrate ICH in policies, to help their state governments to build, to formulate, advocate for policies that will build a cultural economy, then our value is reduced. So one of the things I'm going to do is to start a series of seminars, educational programs that will build the capacity of accredited NGOs to help their state parties to build a creative economy. Then the next slide is that we're going to build a research-based IGC interventions by the forum. The executive board representing the NGO forum will begin now ahead of every IGC, carry out research, document it, and release it immediately before and after we have done our intervention in every intergovernmental committee session, so that they will know that we have knowledgeable men, we have research-oriented men, we have value-oriented men in the board. And then you look at it under this slide. I said we are going to assist the executive board and the General Assembly to organize more state parties, accredited NGO programs, educational campaigns for more recognitions of NGOs, because we know that there are some NGOs, accredited NGOs, and some state parties that are not in good working condition. We have broken that barrier and we want to use it. Finally, I want to state that as a member of the executive board representing Africa, I'm going to work with other members of the executive board without any sense of discrimination, without any sense of isolation. We will work as brothers and sisters to design what we call certification programs for accredited NGOs in affiliation with universities in Africa, Asia, and Europe. You will find, for example, in Italy, in Hungary, in Canada, and in South Africa, we have some of our scholars who are already UNESCO chairs. And somebody like me now who is already on the way to becoming a UNESCO chair for my university. We have to make sure that we give quality surplus value to the General Assembly. And that is what the executive board is doing. And that is what I'm going to offer. So if you vote for me to represent Africa, I will not disappoint. I will make sure that it will be a knowledge-based representation with character, integrity, and probity. I will be above board, and I will also finally help the executive board to come up with an ethics, a code of conduct for both the executive board and the General Assembly, so that people will know good behavior, conduct, and attitudes that they should use to relate to one another. Thank you very much, and God bless.